Now let's see what options we have over here in the rendering. So I'm going to go over here to render. And by default, the BPR render is what we're using to render. That's what's casting our shadow, giving a little bit more of a realistic look. And that just stands for best preview render. The hotkey for that is Shift R. And you can go in here to your floor shadow strength. So you want to crank that down a little bit. You've got the global shadow strength. So you can crank that down if it's a little bit too heavy for you. You can crank up the number of rays that it's using. Now, the more you move this up, obviously, the more it's going to increase your render time. You know, here's you can blur the shadows. The angle, I think, if you crank it up to 360, that'll be more of like an ambient occlusion. Let's go ahead and keep that at 0 right now. And the resolution of your shadow, if you move this up, it'll be a slower render, but a little bit crisper quality. So let's move that blur up just a little bit, and we'll hit BPR again. And because we've been messing around with render settings, it won't keep this. It'll kind of re-render it again. But that's BPR rendering and lighting in a nutshell. And of course, you can do different camera angles if you want to. Just render out. You can get in here and get a detailed shot and just hit BPR to do your best preview render. One more thing is this SPIX. That's sub-pixel aliasing. If you roll over that, sub-pixel anti-aliasing render quality. That's just going to kind of give you a nice alias around your objects to make sure they're nice and smooth. You can crank that down to 0 if you want it to render faster and just kind of get a feel for what your image is going to look like. And then when you're ready to do your final, just move that back up to 3. And you can also turn shadows on and off. If you don't want to render shadows, just turn that off. And then go ahead and just render it out.